your short time when you came in the room, Mr. Carlyle, what's wrong with this team?
What's wrong with the team? I think that the team hasn't played to a consistent level that's required. I think those are the things that we have talked about day in, day out, is to be more consistent in three zones, management of the puck. The defensive side of the game is probably the thing that we feel needs the most attention paid to.
Can this team win going forward, as is Randy? What has to be done in the offseason to improve it for next year?
Well, again, this is an assessment that takes place through the next little while, and obviously with not making the playoffs, we're not very happy, and we're not looking at this group and saying that we've accomplished what we need to accomplish. There's parts of this team that have played some consistent hockey for us, and there's other parts that haven't. And when you're a non-playoff team, you have to do an analysis from top to bottom of your roster and the pieces that you'd like to go forward with. And it's easy to say that you want to make this change or that change, but in reality, in pro sports, there are different factors that come into play. And is it where, we've got to create an environment, a better environment for them to have success in?
Is this a team that could make a dramatic improvement if, say, the right one or two changes were made, or are their problems much worse than that?
I wish I had the answer to that, because that's a question that's tough. I think that through the course of the NHL seasons, if you look at the number of teams, the number of changes that do take place, be it because of salary cap, be it because of non-playoff participation, be it because of retirement, injuries, buyouts, that rosters do change much more dramatically through the course of the summer months on most teams. There's always seems to be a 4 or 5 player change that takes place on most rosters. And it could be addition or subtraction, and it could be a young player coming up, it could be an older player retiring, it could be a free agency signing, it can be a buyout. There's so many more factors in the salary cap world that affect your roster through the course of the summer months.
What do you say to your team? What do you say to the players when they leave for the summer in a situation like this? I'm curious. You say
the message that I delivered yesterday was pretty consistent from a level that I stated after the game in Montreal, is that our work ethic, the level of our work ethic has to go up.
But do you tell them, watch the playoffs, see what, do you tell them?
Well, I'm sure they'll all watch the playoffs. There isn't many hockey players that aren't going to be glued to the TV set at some point. But the message was consistent from a standpoint. You cut me off, I'm sorry, but the work ethic has to improve on the hockey club. There was 3 things I was going to speak to that have to improve. Yeah. Does anybody else want to interrupt first? The situation is the work ethic first and foremost, the accountability in our group. And the conditioning level of our group has to go up. I feel those are the 3 things that can make a huge difference with our group from the word go. And they've understood that there was going to be a higher level of expectation put on those 3 areas right from the first day we came together.
Randy, when you were contacted by Brian, what gave you confidence that he was an executive that could help you put together a team that could win?
Well, when you have an experience with an individual previous, I think there's that trust factor, and the trusting factor for myself and Brian Burke is that he's proven to me in numerous situations that if we needed something to get done, he was quite capable of finding a way to get it done. And 2, it was when his commitment to the hockey club is the same as the coaching staff and sees the game in a lot of ways similar to what the coaching staff sees, then there's a marriage there. That if he's off on a different tangent on the way he feels the team should play versus what the coaching staff feels the team should, or how the team should play, then I don't think there's a marriage there.
What did you learn from this season, Randy, in both the situations you were in Anaheim and Toronto? It was a struggle for you. A, what did you learn as a coach that you can take forward with you? And B, just out of curiosity, Are you gonna be sticking around Toronto with the situation that the Marlies are in to get a scouting feel for what they're doing as the playoffs go on?
Well, the answer to the second question, I'll be around and in and out. I spend my summers in Ontario historically. I'm a little bit further north than the Muskokas, about 300 miles, closer to Sudbury. That's hometown for me, so I'll spend my summers there and I'll be in and out. As far as the Marlies, there will be definitely some playoff games in the future for me to attend. I have a home to close up and move and a family to move to Toronto, so that kind of gets in the way every once in a while. So you know, if you have a happy wife, you have a happy life. So I have to participate with her in that area. And as far as what I've learned, I think that the learning curve for a coach is that there's different situations, different experiences, different pressures that are involved in markets. But the bottom line, it never really changes, is you play the game for one reason, you play it to win.
Been any changes with your assistant coaching staff to further what you want in the...
Do I see any changes? I would say that right now we're in an assessment mode. I haven't met with all of the coaches yet this morning. I've met with 2 of the 4 that we're involved with on a day-to-day basis, and just trying to get more of a feel on what they feel is necessary going forward. And we'll have another conversation probably in the next 5 or 6 days and go over the assessment and try to formulate a plan going forward. But at this point, I don't see any changes.
What do you think of the full-page apology letters in major newspapers today? Do you think it was necessary?
Well, to tell you the truth, I only heard about it, and I was warned that somebody was going to ask me that question prior to the press conference. But obviously, we support our owner, and he felt that that was necessary. So that whatever the ownership decides in those areas, we support 100%.
Randy, having played here, you know what this team and franchise means to this community, to the province. Whether there's more media attention or not, do players have to understand that this is part and parcel, or whether it be the fans, the media, the recognition of being a Toronto Maple Leaf?
I think they recognize, but I don't know if anybody can really fathom the amount of passion that the community displays day in, day out to this organization. And that's one of the things that we've tried to display and tried to make sure that our players are very aware of what kind of fabric the Maple Leaf represents in this community and in the province. It's a worldwide brand, but it's no more bigger display than in the city of Toronto. And there's a lot of responsibility that goes with that when you're associated with it. And there was no bigger exclamation point that was driven home to me as a coach when we played the Tampa Bay Lightning and we managed to find a way to win the hockey game. And I don't think that we played one of our better games. And yet the fans gave our players a standing ovation when we won in overtime. And to me, that was an exclamation point on how passionate and how revered our players are in this market.
Does it make it a little difficult? Do you think it makes it difficult to attract players, Randy? Do you think some players don't want to be in this?
I don't know. I think that players usually want to go first where they get paid the most money. Second is if they feel like they have a chance for success. And I think that in this market, there's a lot of opportunities for players to have success both on the ice and off the ice. And we're part of the governorship or the leaders that have to, again, continue to provide an environment for players to have success in. And that's part of the responsibility of the coaching staff and the management.